Assalamu alaikum and hi viewers, this is Sajjad Hussain and you are watching my YouTube channel. Welcome to this next episode on Paradise Lost. Viewers, in today's video I'm going to discuss with you the story of man's disobedience that is there in book 9. In fact, the action of the poem reaches its peak, reaches its climax, or reaches its height because of the disobedience that is shown firstly by Eve and subsequently by Adam. So let's discuss what happens in book 9. We find out that Satan succeeds in breaking into or penetrating into the Garden of Eden in the form of mist. This is how he disguises himself, and when he reaches there, he is at first quite mesmerized and captivated by the beauty of that garden, and for the time being, positive thoughts come to his mind, and he has to remind himself that he is not there for anything good, for anything positive. In fact, he has come there for some destructive purpose, for some evil purpose, and he once again starts concentrating and focusing the job in hand. And that job is, and that mission is to mislead Adam and Eve and corrupt them. In the meantime, Eve talks to Adam and shows her desire to work in isolation, to work alone. She is of the view that by working alone, there can be more efficiency and there can be more productivity in their work. And she is quite aware of the fact that by remaining together, they have been whiling away their time in exchanging looks and smiles, and sometimes solitude and loneliness is best society. So she asks Adam that he must allow her to work alone. Adam is hesitant and tries to impress upon her the need for remaining together. He tells her that there is a lurking enemy who might attack them anytime. So, the best thing for them is to remain together and to live together. However, when Eve insists, and when she is too much willing to work alone, Adam allows her, though unwillingly and inadvertently. Satan disguises himself in the meantime in the form of a serpent, and he appears in front of her, in front of Eve, when he finds her alone. And he starts praising her by using his oily tongue. He flatters her and he calls her resplendent Eve, matchless Eve. And Eve is flattered and she asks the serpent how he has got that ability to speak. And Satan, who is disguised as serpent, informs her that it is after eating a fruit, a blessed fruit, and it is the fruit of knowledge, and it is the fruit which has enhanced not only his intelligence, but at the same time he has been endowed with and he has been blessed with the power of speech. And Eve shows her yearning and she shows her desire to eat that fruit, and she has a wish and she has an innate desire to improve her wisdom and to improve her intelligence, because she wants to equal Adam. She believes that by eating that fruit, she might attain that status and she might attain that position that should equal her. And this is something quite joyful, and this is something highly pleasing for that serpent, and he leads Eve to that tree which is called the tree of knowledge. And when Eve reaches there, she tells the serpent that they should not have come there, because this is the tree whose fruit is forbidden to them. God has strictly ordered them not to touch or taste that fruit, otherwise they would die. And when Eve is hesitant, Satan, in the form of serpent, uses his best communication skills, best oratory, best rhetoric ability, and he uses all his abilities and all his capabilities and all his energies to convince Eve. He tells her that it is the tree of knowledge, and after eating that fruit, she will be blessed with knowledge. She will have the knowledge of good and evil, and it is most appropriate to have this knowledge. If a person has the knowledge of good, he can improve himself, and if a person has the knowledge of evil, certainly he can avoid it. Besides, he motivates Eve to eat that fruit, because after eating that fruit, there is every possibility that Eve would rise to the status of gods. And this is quite in proportion to what has happened to this serpent. From a brute, he has been endowed with human qualities. Eve, who is a human, would be blessed with angelic qualities and godlike qualities once she eats that fruit. And this is a temptation, this is a seduction, and this is something that Eve cannot resist, and she eats that fruit freely to the best of her satisfaction and to the best of her contentment. And after she eats that fruit, Satan disappears from the scene. Now, after eating that fruit, there are two choices, there are two options that are available to Eve. The first option and the first choice is that she should not disclose it to Adam, and having that blessed or divine influence or effect of that fruit as it was told to her by the serpent, she should become equal or perhaps superior to Adam. And the second option is that she must tell all this to Adam, because there is a possibility that death would come to her after eating it. So she wants that death should come to them together. Otherwise, Adam would be left all alone, and she is quite sad to think that he would be wedded to another Eve. So, in order to avoid this, she decides to tell each and everything to Adam. So, when she returns home, Adam is there to welcome her, and he has a garland in her hands. And Eve informs him, he has a garland in his hands, and Eve informs him that she has eaten that fruit, and it is the fruit of knowledge. And this is something shocking, and this is something quite disturbing for Adam. The floral wreath, that garland falls off his hands, and he is in a disappointed and dejected state of mind. Now, Adam has two options. Either he should eat that fruit and become an accomplice of Eve, or he should not eat it and avoid death. But Adam has too much love for Eve, and he believes that he will not be able to survive and live without her. And secondly, he thinks that he cannot afford to lose another rib for the creation of second Eve after the death of this Eve. Therefore, he decides to eat that fruit and become a sharer of Eve's crime. And after Adam eats that fruit, they lose their innocence, they indulge themselves in carnal desires, in sexual desires, and once they realize what they have done, they start covering their bodies with leaves. And then starts a bickering between the two, then starts a quarrel between the two. Each of them blames the other for this trespass, for this disobedience, and the true nature of both these characters is revealed through the speeches, through allegations and counter allegations that are made by both of them. And this is how we can sum up that by the end of the poem, that bickering and that dispute is on. Now, as far as questions from examination point of view are concerned, there are mostly two questions that are usually asked in the exams. The first question is the discussion on the characters of Adam and Eve, and the second question is, who according to you is more responsible for the downfall of mankind? And you have to give your own opinion. As far as the character description of the two is concerned, we find out that Eve is adventurous, and this is why she wants to work alone, and she is an embodiment of beauty, and she is also an embodiment of innocence. That's why she is taken in, though she is overconfident and she believes that she is not weak enough to be misled and misguided by an enemy, but she appears to be, and she turns out to be, a very weak creature when she can be easily flattered by Satan, who appears in front of her in the form of serpent. As far as Adam is concerned, he seems to be a hen-pecked husband, a husband who loves Eve, who is in love with her head over ears, and he is not misguided and he is not misled by that serpent directly, but out of Eve's love, he eats that fruit. As far as the second question, who is more responsible for the downfall of mankind, you can have your own opinion, and it seems as if Eve is more responsible. And in order to answer this question, you have to keep in mind all the incidents and all the details that lead to this downfall. Viewers, I hope this is clear. All the details of book 9 are clear to you, and the questions that we have discussed are also clear to you. Thank you very much. Keep watching, keep following. Allah Hafiz.